here. In today's video, I'm going to be conducting a wear test on the brand new GIORGIO Armani Neo Nude Natural Glow Foundation. And I'm going to be taking it a step further by comparing it with the OG, the Luminous Silk Foundation. But before we get started, and if you're new here, I hope that you will consider and subscribe to my channel. Ring the post notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. Also, come and follow me on my Instagram. And now, if you want to know more about this Neo Nude Foundation from GIORGIO Armani, if it will work for mature, dry, sensitive skin, and if it's better or not than the OG Luminous Silk Foundation, then just keep on watching. At the very last minute and before the Sephora VIB sale was about to end, I decided that I don't need a new foundation, but I was very curious. So I ended up picking up the GIORGIO Armani Neo Nude. This is a natural glow foundation. And honestly, it grabbed a little bit my curiosity because GIORGIO Armani already has something that I think, per description, very alike. And it's a cult classic for many people. In fact, it's one of my top favorite foundations. And I'm talking about the Luminous Silk Foundation. So I'm like, okay, why the brand wants to do two products very similar? I was thinking, what about if this one could have been maybe like a tinted product, like a tinted product, or something along the lines as the Tom Ford Glow Tinted Moisturizer that I have been absolutely loving. And again, mostly for the upcoming months, as we're right now in the spring. I know we're staying at home, but if you want to wear something a little bit more simple and you feel that you want a foundation, I don't understand why, they came out with something that perhaps is similar. I haven't put it on my face, but per description, there's a few keywords right here and adjectives that they can really interlace. Like, for example, luminous, radiant. This is how this one is described. The name says it's luminous and radiant, and then this one natural and glow. But glow and radiance, they can really, again, interlace between each other. Now, on the description of both foundations and kind of like glancing at it, this one right here is supposed to give you a light but buildable coverage. It's also supposed to be hydrating, while this one right here is supposed to just give you, a straightforward medium coverage. Obviously, you can build it up, but it's not like a, full coverage foundation. But overall, it seems like, I don't know, like two alike things. But here's another thing. This foundation costs $40, while this one right here costs $64. So that's a big difference. And not only that, this comes with more product. This comes with 35 mls or 1.18 fluid ounces, and this one comes with a typical 30 mls or 1 fluid ounces. They are both made in France. They both have the same shelf life of 12 months. So let's just put it to the test. And if you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by, for your time. Welcome to my channel. I hope that you want to stick around and become part of my family. And if you are already a subscriber of mine, I want to thank you so much for all that love and the support that you always give me. And let's just get started with this demo and open up this package right here. So it's a typical, I really do not like these Unicorn boxes. To me, they don't look very elegant. I think there's other brands that they really do a more like appealing, elegant boxes. But oh well, that's my impression. But I really like this nice kind of like blush pink tube. It's a plastic tube. It's, again, nothing fancy. And I think, that's part of the cost right there, right? They are not using glass. It's something a little bit less expensive. But what it matters right here, more than the packaging, is the product itself and how it works on our skin. Now, I use on the Luminous one the shade 5.5, and I decided to pick up the same shade. I just didn't want to really risk it that much. So anyhow, here you go. So pretty packaging. This is kind of like your millennial pink nude shades. This has been on trend for many years. I work in the wedding industry and event industry. I do a lot of weddings and work with a lot of brides, and that's the thing. you know, these colors are, you know, for packaging wise, even when you go to Instagram, you will see these colors are very like trendy and they are kind of like pulling in fact, like even the new Gucci mascara, you can see right there. Okay, so when I open it up, I realized that it doesn't have a, yeah, no, it didn't came with a little, you know, like seal or protector, which I'm not upset of. So I'm just gonna swatch it first for you. Okay, so I'm gonna put here the new Neo one. Okay, it feels very lightweight, very lightweight. In fact, I even feel kind of like a gel type of consistency. I mean, I shouldn't say consistency, but that kind of like a refreshing type of feeling when you put kind of like a gel product on your face or a gel moisturizer. And you know what? It seems something really weird on my skin. At least on my hand, it kind of like created little bubbles, like little droplets on top. I mean, I don't even think if the camera will be able to capture that at all. Okay, definitely the Luminous foundation has a lot more coverage right off the bat. And the consistency of the Luminous foundation in comparison to the Neo Nude, it's a little bit more creamy. Very lightweight, but very creamy. And you know what? Although they are both the same shade and the same, I mean, like we're talking about the same brand, I feel like the Luminous Silk in 5.5 is pulling a little bit warmer and a little bit more pink, while this one right here, the Neo Nude, it's a little bit more, it has, I mean, it still has the warm undertone, but it's a little bit more orangey. And I'm just gonna do the Neo Nude on this side. And by the way, if you're new here, I do have a dry, sensitive skin. I do have, I mean, I have certain areas that are a little bit more normal, but I have also a very reactive skin. I also have a lot of freckles, like a ton of freckles, but it's never my intention to cover them, but just to kind of like a little bit of camouflage them and, you know, just perfect my skin more than anything. I also have enlarged pores on this area and on my chin area. When I do these try on of foundation, I usually do not like to use any primers. I usually use right here the Tatcha or any type of like a pore minimizer primer on this area. But when I do these reviews, what I like to do is just not even use any primer, because I want to see what is the reality of the foundation. I mean, before I started my YouTube channel, and even when I was watching other YouTubers, it was never my priority to buy a primer. So, and perhaps many of you think the same way. So I just want for this review to be helpful if you don't use primer, because I mean, any primer will just, you know, alter the chemistry of the foundation or any other product that you're using on. I mean, like, it will be either long lasting or make it go more, you know, smoother. So let's just take a look to how the product acts in just, you know, bare skin. And yes, I do have my moisturizer and I do have SPF, but I applied it, well, maybe like my skincare perhaps like 3 hours ago. Yeah, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and then about 45 minutes to an hour I applied my SPF. So it's all like being absorbed by my skin. Okay, so here you go. Let me just get you a little bit closer here so you can take a peek of how is the foundation looking like. Definitely, it was really easy to blend. Yes, I used my fingers. I washed my hands. Don't worry about that. I just didn't want to use it specifically. I have here a sponge. I have this brush right here. I mean, I can always go with, you know, the sponge to perfect the areas, but honestly, it had blended really good. And you know what? The sponge usually absorbs the product, and if this is already a lightweight foundation, I don't see the reason why. Okay, on the other side, I'm gonna do the Luminous Silk foundation. And on this one, I usually use less amount of product because it does have, obviously, that medium coverage. So I'm just gonna use a brush. Now the Luminous Silk, because of its consistency, it's not that it's hard to spread with your hands, but it's not as easy as the Neo Nude. Okay, let's see. First impressions right here. The side of the Neo Nude foundation looks just a little bit more glowy, just a tiny bit, just a dash. I mean, it's almost unnoticeable unless like you're looking very close to your mirror like I'm doing, like what? That's when you're gonna see it. Now what I'm noticing is that I do have a little bit of like patchy areas, and I want to fix that, so I'm just gonna build a little bit of coverage on this area right here. And what I'm also noticing is that the Luminous Silk is not settling into my enlarged pores as much as a Neo Nude is doing. Not in a way that it's, you know, uncomfortable, because if I'm looking like right here at a distance that someone will be looking at me, it's not noticeable, but we will have to determine that as time progresses. Okay, so I'm just building up a little bit more the Neo Nude foundation, and I'm gonna be using a brush kind of like tapping the product as much as possible. Okay, I was able to build up the coverage. I'm gonna finish my makeup off camera, and then I'm gonna be doing some check-ins throughout the day. Also letting you know I film in natural light, so what you see right now is natural light, but I will go ahead and do some other filming outside with the sun hitting on my face so you can really see up close what's going on. And before I take off right here for a second, I want to show you the two foundations after they have set on my skin. As you can tell, the Luminous Silk, it actually oxidizes a lot more, while the Neo Nude, it actually pretty much maintains its pigmentation. Like, you know, the shade is pretty much the same, and it actually looks a lot more lighter weight than the one Luminous Silk. Alright, my friends, don't go too far, just keep on watching. This is my afternoon check-in, my friends. It has passed about 6 hours since I applied both of these foundations. I have been pretty much inside the house for the most part, and then I have gone to pick up some food for my children. And yeah, that's pretty much the interaction that I had with the environment. Now it's about 82 degrees here in my area. It's a very nice, sunny, shiny day, and here is how the foundation is looking like on my skin. So as you can tell, this side is nice, glowy, and on the side of the Luminous foundation, it looks luminous, you know, but it's not as glowy as this side. And if you can tell on this side right here, I feel like the foundation is settling onto my fine lines, not too much, and then kind of like, you know, disappearing a little, you know, so it doesn't completely set. I think the Luminous one sets a little bit more than this one remains. I shouldn't say that it remains wet, but it's just not, it doesn't completely set. I mean, that's that, okay? And then it has rub off just a tiny bit on this area, and then on this area right here. And as you can tell, my pores, they don't look super enlarged. It's not like it's, you know, magnifying my pores. It's not that. It's just that it doesn't, I mean, I have seen worse, believe me, I have seen worse. What I'm saying is, like, if you see between the Luminous foundation and this one right here, the pores, they are just on this side a little bit more notorious than on this side, just a little, and perhaps it's for the glow. So definitely I think that it will benefit to, you know, maybe use, I have been enjoying very much my Tatcha Silk Canvas primer on that area because it's very light. So I think the foundation will benefit on something like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will give you another check-in at the end of the evening and see how the foundation wears off throughout the day. Okay, my friends, just keep on watching. It is 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think it's about time to do my final check-in. It has passed already 9 hours, and as I mentioned it during my midday check-in, is that it has been really warm in the area that I live. It was in the mid 80s. Now in the area that I live, it's not super dry and very close to the coast, but it's not humid as it will be perhaps, you know, in Florida, New York, you know, the East Coast. It's a lot more humid than this area. But for being a warm day, also it was really windy, and the foundation has worn pretty well. I really love the luminosity that it has. Now it does settle onto fine lines and onto crevices. Usually I do not have this problem of, you know, getting foundations settling onto like the areas of my nose. And also I have like a weird patch right here that I don't know, it just looks weird. It's just grabbing onto like a piece of dry area that I have right there. But other than that, I mean, it has worn fine. But what I think is that the Neo Nude foundation, it just moves a little. It's not like, it doesn't stay put. And I'm not saying that the Luminous Silk, it completely stays there, because really if you want it to stay in place, you need to set it either with setting powder or maybe a setting spray. Which I haven't done anything of that. In fact, today I decided to just use cream products instead of using powders, and yeah, everything that I'm using on my face is cream, exception for my eyeshadows. I will be leaving all those products on my description box below. But definitely the Neo Nude has more glow than the Luminous Silk. Now the Luminous Silk has worn off a little. I mean, to the point that right now both the Luminous Silk and the Neo Nude, they have pretty much the same coverage, but the Luminous Silk looks pretty much natural, like, you know, skin-like, and this one has a very pretty glow. I don't know, I just like the glow right here. Another thing to point out, I don't think I mentioned it, but this foundation comes in 24 shades, which I think is pretty generous for being a glowy foundation. Glow foundations, usually they don't have that many, you know, shades. Usually the natural foundations are the ones that brands like focus into having more selections on the shade range, while this one right here has 40 different shades. Now, honestly, if you're looking for something very lightweight, glowy, and, you know, that performs, I will say it performs fairly well. I mean, you're talking to a person that has a lot of freckles, so I don't have an even skin tone, and I also have a little bit of discoloration right here. And I really do not use much of concealer or spot concealing those areas, but to have, you know, like, do not have an even skin, I think it performed fairly well. I'm enjoying it. I'm not completely in love with it or completely wow, but I think it has a beautiful finish. Now, definitely the Luminous foundation has right off the back a medium coverage. You see it. You see it. This one is a lot more lightweight. This doesn't feel heavy on the skin. This one doesn't, but it's just have a lot more coverage. I mean, this one is a very light coverage, and I don't think really that you can build it up even to be a medium coverage. I don't feel it, because I tried to build it up right here, and then yes, it showed, but then after a little while the coverage was, you know, like fading away. So I think it's true to be a light, like touching right there to the medium, but not so much. Another foundations that you may be wondering, does it look like? This Estee Lauder Hydra Rescue Foundation. I really love this foundation. It's so beautiful. It gives you the most beautiful glowy look, but it's very different than this foundation right here. This one is a lot lighter weight. Like I mentioned on my first, you know, like as soon as I touch it, this doesn't have a gel consistency, but it feels like a gel. If you have touched the Tatcha water cream, that's the feeling, like that cooling sensation that feels kind of like, you know, like really hydrating. That's the feeling of this. While this one right here is thin too. It has a thin consistency, but it has more of like, even a dash more of like a lotion consistency than this one. Let me just give you a swatch just for you to see like what's the coverage on my hand. Okay, let's see. This one is in the shade Tawny 3W1. On top I have Estee Lauder Hydra Rescue, and then at the bottom the Neon Nude. The colors are pretty close, but I think you can see right here that even the Estee Lauder has just a tiny bit more coverage than this one. This one right here, it maintains the Neon Nude, it maintains a subtle sheerness to it, like something that perhaps that's why they put a natural glow, because it lets you see a little bit through your skin, yet giving that glow but not being sheer, staying true to the light coverage. Now remember, I do have dry skin. Obviously I cannot speak for those who have oily skin, but I think that this foundation may not be the best for those who have oily skin. Perhaps you will have to set it, and then again you will be losing a little bit of that glow. I guess you will have to try it. Perhaps a primer will help, and for those like myself that we have enlarged pores, I don't feel it's extremely necessary to use a pore minimizer primer with this foundation, because it's so light coverage that, I mean, it's settled onto my enlarged pores, but as the day progressed and as I, you know, my natural oils came through, it is not that much. But if it's something that bothers you, obviously you can use a pore minimizer primer and that will help. As far as longevity goes, I think it lasted, you know, quite a bit. I mean, it wore off. I had been editing videos too, so I put my hand right here, so it has come off from here and a little bit on this area. But other than that, I mean, it lasts fairly well for what it is, a light coverage foundation. And now it is your turn to let me know if you are thinking about picking up this Neon Nude GIORGIO Armani foundation, or if you have already picked it up, if you have tried it, how you're liking it. And when you leave that comment, if you can please put right there what type of skin you have, whether it's dry, normal, combo, oily, also in what climate do you live, because I think that will enrich so much our, you know, little comment section down there, and it will really help our little community right here. I greatly appreciate your time. I greatly appreciate all your support, and while you're at it, and if you haven't done so yet, you're waiting too long, go ahead, subscribe to my channel and ring that post notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with family and friends, and if you have a little bit of a chance, come and follow me on my Instagram. Let's grow our family. I'm so appreciative of your time. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.